Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy For Now. It's me, Isabel, here with your Romancelandia for the time I was gone through middle-ish of December, we're gonna call it, because I want to be done for this month. And if it's quiet enough, we're knocking on wood, don't worry. If it's quiet enough, we might do a fun roundup, I don't know, something in January for Romancelandia instead of like everything that happened. But a lot has happened, and a lot that I was like, I don't know if we even need to talk about it or not. I don't know. It was one of those months. One of those months and a half, I guess, really. So we're going to dive directly in and discuss the happenings of Romancelandia and all that good stuff. I will forget things. I'm sure I missed stuff. I had to prioritize. I know some of y'all want hour-plus long Romancelandias regularly. I do not have time for that this December, so that is not happening. First things first, let's talk about LJ Shen, a repeated, perhaps an all-star, but in a negative light, of Romancelandia LJ Shen. I have talked about her before. They have popped up. The book Bad Bishop just came out and has a female main character pretending to have a developmental disability to avoid being married off to a mobster. And part of it's to show how backwards they are and all these things, and I understand that, but pretending? No. And this isn't the first mafia story in which someone has tried to take someone with a disability and turn it into this, like, thing with the mob. And I just think, let's not. Because there was that Cora Riley one, too, with a female main character who used a wheelchair, I believe. I think I'm recalling correctly. Anyways, this is not the first time. So, like, weird that I'd have two nickels now. But, like, also, maybe not. Let's just not. So that happened. I'll have links to people reading the passage down below. But I was like, this is gross. This just feels gross. I just don't feel like this needed to happen. No. Like, you don't need to pretend to do the story. Like, that makes it gross. Really, really gross. Next, we have to talk about the publishing house attempting to elevate romance and basically has venture capitalists involved in their publishing to some extent. And is just, doing it differently. And that is 831 Books. I've not read anything from 831 Books. I have 2 books on my TBR from 831 Books that I want to read. This makes me more hesitant now. But there is a New York Times article that came out in November around the release of Grape Juice. And all of the 831 stories have these checkerboard covers, which I don't mind, honestly. Like, if we're going to do, like, if you're going to do branding and, like, your publishing house is going to have, like, very uniform but colorful covers, like, this isn't the worst I've ever seen. I don't hate it. A lot of people don't like it. That's fine. I get it. But the article is a wild read and then just kind of put me off of them completely. But basically, you may have seen, like, a lot of discussion around this. But 831 Stories is above romance. Basically, they're elevating the genre. They are better than, so to speak, And they're there for people who don't like a romance book cover. They don't want people to know they're reading a romance book. Their covers have a gold stamped, like, Cupid. So, like, I'm sorry. People may know you're reading a romance. But also, the part of the article that I think icked me out the most is that they encourage their authors to basically write your name fanfic. So, insert your name. So, YN name fanfics. Self-insert fics in their books by not including a ton of descriptors about the main characters. That way you, the reader, can basically self-insert. Which, like, is weird. Because they have some, like, underrepresented authors on they're published through them. And I just think it's weird to then go write this. I was reading comments on a thread about it and someone called them a colonizer of the romance genre. And I was like, okay, I could see it. Honestly. The result of this was someone sharing some book scan numbers, which is a thing accessible to people in the industry. And it shows you how much of a book has sold. And I just want to say, not a lot. Not a number I would expect for the way in which we're acting about our publishing group. But yeah, I just think, in a weird way, this felt just like that thing where I was like, why can't we just like romance books? What's wrong with just liking a thing and not having to, like, be better than or somehow improving upon or elevating it? Because, like, romance is just, as always, in conversation with the world around us, as is most contemporary fiction. Like, it's okay. It's okay that you liked something you think is cringy now. Like, it's cool. It's fine. we have phones and e-readers and all these devices to read on if you don't want people to see the cover. Like, I just don't think it has to be that big a deal. That's just my hot take. I don't know, it felt kind of gross. In other publishing news, Shein has entered the publishing game, kind of. Not exactly. So Shein is now selling books too. So I need everyone to stop making the fast fashion book joke. Please and thank you, because now fast fashion is indeed selling books. So yeah, you can get your whatever weird thing on Shein and a book in the same order. Wild. I just think that's wild. But here we are. Next, a fun, kind of surprising thing. So Harlequin is a very well-known imprint of romance books. They make the category romance books. So, like, there's Harlequin Desire. Carina Press is under Harlequin. There used to be Blaze. Like, they have different imprints, and they're the skinny, you know, books with the colors on the cover and, like, kind of old school covers and funny, sometimes silly names. In a shock that I did not realize this would be the first, but the first ever sapphic title for the Harlequin Intrigue line has been published, and that is Deadly Security Breach by Katie Metner. And I'm just like, I'm happy, but I'm shocked it's now, like, that it's taken till now for that line to have their first, like, sapphic romance. So I just want to shout it out. I think it's important we show staples in the genre love and care, that we are excited that they're coming out with more. So there's that. Now it's a topic I don't want to talk about, but we have to talk about because it went too big to not talk about it. There was a creator, I'm not going to name names. I will link to the video down below if you really want to know who, and you can go watch it in full. But basically, they took to TikTok and they've deleted the video. So, like, what I'm linking to is someone else who saved it. And they called Romantasy readers or Romantasy Girlies not the brightest sparks, because they like books that are patriarchy kink or are things that this person has deemed specific things. We'll get into it in a minute. But anyways, they do this. They say this statement and then promote another author's book that they loved. And we're like, of course they didn't like it because it's this, it's that, the other. I've seen critique both ways for this book, to be honest with you. The way this call out happened, or I guess the way this attempted rage bait happened, is like that was posted, people responded in mass, which obviously led to views for the other person. They also got like death threats, which is also why I'm not sharing the video, because like that's too far. But I want to talk about this conversation happening in the romantasy space now. It's like an offshoot. Like if the umbrella is romance, there's like an offshoot of romantasy coming off. And I think the biggest thing I noticed personally, as someone who's been in the romance space for a very long time now, I thought it was really fascinating to watch the language and how people talk about romantasy and these books in general being the exact same way we have the romance genre talked to us about as romance readers, or talked down to about all the things, right? I feel like that language and that like annoyance has fully shifted to some extent to romantasy because it has become so popular. And I'm not saying every romantasy published is like a piece of art, is doing something inventive, is not playing into conservative beliefs or different things, but I do think we have to consider how the language shift is happening to another genre that is like part of romance now. Almost like, well, they're the target now because that's what's popular again. But yeah, it's kind of just wild to see the same rhetoric we've seen spoken to us as readers in the genre at this genre as well. I think there's a lot to be said. I'm not the person to do the deep dive. I don't read enough romantasy to do this deep dive, but I think there's something to be said for the idea that every romantasy is like conservative propaganda or is like a patriarchy kink. Because like I at times wonder, are you seeking confirmation bias in whatever you're reading as a person who doesn't like the genre, or as a person reading the genre who is conservative, let's say, because they're gonna take, and I've seen it happen, I see it with Star Wars and things that I enjoy, where they're like, no, that's me as this. People are going to take whatever their belief system is, no matter what is in the book, and push their ideas into that and say that it's about them and their belief system. Even if it's not, even if the book is like glaringly not that, people will find a way to eyes half closed, you know, I didn't see it type thing, and say that this book is that, or is fueling their like love of a thing. I'm not saying there isn't an issue, but I am going to say that I think the way in which people are addressing or attempting to talk about the issue or talk about these things is just really weird. It's getting into that borderline territory that we deal with a lot in the romance community, around just kind of hatred that women like a thing to an extent. And that's like a general women, because like obviously you don't have to be a woman to read romance or romantasy or any of these genres, but I think it is en masse viewed as for women, and thus is shitted upon, because how dare a thing women like be popular. That's just my hot take. But yeah, I thought this entire thing was interesting to watch unfold. I saw a lot of people talking about like, well, what romantasies is this person even reading? Because like I read these ones and like that's not even there, blah blah blah. And I was like, that's exactly it though. I think if you're only picking up the popular ones, if you're only picking up the white authors, if you're not diversifying your reading in the genre, I'm sure there is a lot to be found. But I also think there's a lot of people writing in the genre now that are seeing successes that are not reflective of that in any capacity. And we're just like ignoring them to continue to like scream about the people we're tired of hearing about. And I just don't think that always helps. I just don't think that always helps personally. I just don't think it does. But yeah, I thought that was fascinating to see again the same words that I've seen used at the romance community used on Romantasy. Not a surprise, just fascinating. But yeah, again, I think there's a lot of confirmation bias happening also. Same thing happens in the romance space when people like want to read a romance. I feel like there's this confirmation bias that like, well, I only read these ones and they're terrible. And it's like, well, if that's not what you like, why are you reading it? Like, let's find you something you would like, you know? Okay. More drama. Okay, I feel like I have to talk about this one too, because it just got vague booked to hell, or vague threaded to hell and back, because my god, y'all on Threads gotta get it together. Anyways, Elsie Silver's upcoming release, Fever Dream, had a line in it that upset a lot of people, rightfully so. And some people were not upset by it. It really was a split reaction, but I feel like I have to talk about it because of that split reaction, and also because it's so hard to find the source. So I did a ton of digging for y'all. So first things first, in the book, the line that caused the uproar initially is a mischievous looking little blonde boy, hair nearly white, with a tan so dark that his knees almost appear dirty, is in her new book as a line. Now this isn't an ARC copy. The book is not out yet. ARCs are generally not edited yet, so I don't know if this would have been edited or not without the call out. We do not have that information. But when someone read it, called it out, Elsie immediately basically turned her comments off or limited comments to some extent. So people could not like do anything. She never said a word. Nothing was said. But then the ARC was updated. And if you re-downloaded the ARC or resent it to your Kindle, you got the updated ARC. And the new update says the following. They're squished in tight next to a mischievous looking little blonde boy. Hair nearly white with a deep summer tan and dirt on his knees from playing outdoors. I think that's a much better way to say he had, that, you know, he was outside versus like almost appearing dirty from tan, because that is like a very racially charged comment for a lot of communities around dark skin being dirty. As a white woman, I don't have a say in this. The conversation is not my place to like weigh in on the statement in the first one with the dirty skin comment. That is not my place. You're going to find people that are on both sides of it. I think for me as a reader, the part of this that pinged my like, this is strange, is limiting comments and not posting anywhere that it was fixed or that you were going to get it updated or anything when called out. That's all you had to do. 2 seconds of your time to say, hey, on stories, I saw it, I'm fixing it, you know, whatever. That's all you have to do. Like, it's a really simple solution, and I don't love the lack of, like, that happening here, personally. So, yeah, that's what happened with Elsie Silver the last time. This isn't, listen, I don't know. I don't know how I feel, but it's a thing. And it's just been interesting watching people argue about this. So, now you have the information at the very least to carry forth how you wish. It's time for the heated rivalry of it all. Okay, listen, I've joined y'all. I've read the book, as I talked about in my mid-month. I'm almost caught up on the show. We get a new episode tonight. I'm filming this on Thursday. We get a new episode tonight, Friday morning. Heated Rivalry came out via Crave in Canada. They did a fantastic job with this production. And this is a book by Rachel Reed in the Game Changer series. It is book 2. Technically that we start with. Game Changer is book 1. Heated Rivalry is book 2. And then we follow some other people. This caused a stir when it came out, okay? Like, people were pumped. This is a series that, like, when I told people I hadn't read it yet, they were shocked. Like, so beloved by a lot of my friends. And I think that's why I've been so nervous to read it, and I'm glad I did. I'm here. I'm with y'all. I'm in the fandom, okay? First things first. Whiskey Ginger Goods popped up again because of Heated Rivalry, in my feed at least. This book box called Marley's Must Reads did a pre-order a while ago for a Rachel Reed Heated Rivalry in the long game covers. They did a bonus dust jacket. Well, they commissioned Whiskey Ginger Goods for it. And here's the covers. And there was a ton of backlash because, one, Shein doesn't look the same on both covers. He also doesn't necessarily look like Shein, if that makes sense. But also on these covers, there were heavy AI remnants. Even worse than some of her other covers, in my opinion, where I just was like, wow, okay. Like, there's one of, I'm going to post the close-up here. There's, like, a hanger that's, like, funky. That's not, I don't think that was drawn. And then, like, the sweater, the V on it is weird. The sweater, the jersey, that's the word. The jersey V is weird. Like, it's funky here. There's another hanger in one of the covers that is funky. Anyways, this book box had a ton of backlash. And basically just said, we're not sending the dust jackets. We're not doing anything with the dust jackets. We've canceled them, blah, blah, blah. So there's that, I guess. People are, it seems like, calling attention to the Whiskey Ginger Goods issue. I will also say we are seeing a lot of the usual queer media discourse around the show. People questioning the actors about their sexuality. People making assumptions about Rachel Reed's sexuality. A lot of that happening. And that's like, I don't know. I just get deeply uncomfortable with it. I think, you know, there's room to be not concerned, but there's room for like people to openly come out in their own pace and stuff. You know, we don't need a Becky Albertalli, everyone, because like that's also gross. Yeah, that's been fascinating, and people have like backtracked statements when they've learned more about Rachel Reed's identity and stuff like that too. So yeah, also people just like hating on romance, also weird and interesting. But, you know, the show also, I think one of the things in that discourse that's being missed heavily is like Jacob Tierney, who is producing the show and directing and all these things, is like a gay man himself. So let's be excited that a gay man is making a gay book into a show. Personally, that's how I feel. Like, I was like, that's the cool part. Now we have to talk about the like fumble from Harlequin overall with this, which is not a surprise. Again, I've got more Harlequin fumbles later this month, unfortunately. So we did not get a US release for this until like 2 days before the show was going to drop in Canada from Crave. We heard HBO Max picked it up and we were getting it in the States. Because like I was like, how the hell am I going to watch this show? Like, truly, I have to watch it. What am I going to do? So it was like a day or two. So we didn't get a long run up here in the States. But the book, Heated Rivalry, has basically just been out of print. Unavailable too. So basically indie bookstores and stuff have been like, this is where our Heated Rivalry copies would be if we could have it, if we could get them. And then Harlequin, like a week or two into the show airing, sends out an email if you were subscribed to them, and we're like, hey, we have the books in stock again. That was rude, Harlequin. That was rude. The other interesting thing with all of this, in my opinion, is like Harlequin's not really doing anything with the show as far as marketing goes for the books. They're like doing nothing, but like there are clips of the actors and the Jacob Tierney and all these people like reading the book and talking about the book in relation to the show and all these things. Like, they're marketing that book for Rachel. They are like, no, this is the book we were inspired. Like, this is the book this is based on. Like, the work is happening here from that team, which I love to see. I don't think we always get that when we get book adaptations, but I love that we're getting that with this book adaptation. So yeah, it's just been kind of wild to watch Harlequin basically not respond and not do anything with this. You know, and I do think like there's like a call for tie-in covers, which I agree. I would buy a tie-in cover with these actors on it as the characters, because like, yes. But it is like one of the few times in which I'm like, I would buy a tie-in cover. Normally, we all hate a tie-in movie cover situation, right? Or TV show cover. So like, I don't blame Harlequin for not doing that yet, because like that's an obvious like, yeah, of course we're like not gonna do that. Everyone yells about it. But instead we're like, no, but maybe we do need that now. So maybe we'll get that in the new year, because season 2 has been confirmed. So happy season 2 has been confirmed. But yeah, I'm loving the show personally. I think if you've been intrigued by it, give it a shot. You may enjoy it. You may not. I don't know. But it's working for me. I think they're doing a great job translating the book to a show. You may not like the book. I do feel like the book reads very Harlequin-y in like, not a bad way, but like it has a very category romance vibe to it that I think some people will not like. But season 2 is coming. And I'm so excited. Okay, some super like extremely sad news. Next, I hate that this is news we have. It kind of was just a shock to the system when I saw it, but Sophie Kinsalle, the author of Confessions of a Shopaholic, passed away at the age of 55 due to an aggressive brain cancer. Her family shared this news on her Instagram, and it was like on People and everywhere else, and I just think it's really just sad to hear. We lost her so young, and I also didn't realize how young Sophie Kinsalle was, because I feel like her books have been just like a staple at the bookstore whenever I'm book shopping, you know? Like, it's an author name I know and a lot of us read in our teens and stuff. Like, it has entries into like adult books. So I just think it's really sad. And if you didn't hear the news, I wanted to make sure people were aware. All right, now we have to talk about Amazon because a couple things happened in the last little bit that I feel like I need to update y'all on. First things first, Kindle app quietly launched this like AI chat feature to ask about the book you're reading. And authors do not have an option to opt in or out of this step, I want you to know, and are very upset about this. But it's also brought up the convo of people being like, divest from Amazon, stop using Amazon, you know, pull your books, this, that, the other. And I just need you to know, again, if you've never heard this statement, a lot of authors do not have that option because they make majority of their earnings from Kindle Unlimited. I saw an author talk about how they, for like 4 years, were out of KU, went on KU, and made more money than they'd ever made off of KU and out of the Amazon ecosystem. I want better options. We all do. But as the readers, if we do not like this feature, we need to go on Amazon and send our feedback about this. You can send feedback in the Kindle app on your phone. So do that. I am doing that. I am sending feedback about how much I hate this new feature. And again, Amazon is going to listen to us. We have power as the consumer more than the authors do on this platform, as well as more power to push on them to make the change because like there's more of us than them at the end of the day. So if you do not like this feature, don't use it and send them feedback that you hate it and would like the ability to opt out of it or something, because that's the only way we will get rid of this feature. But yeah, I just saw a lot of people being like, you just have to divest. And I do think, obviously, also, like, divest when you can. I bought, like, last weekend, I bought books through an author's website. I got an audiobook and 2 ebooks from them for, like, $10. So I was, like, thrilled to do it. But that's not available for every author I read. Not every author I read has that option. But when I have read from them and I know I like them, I will go do that. I will take that route of buying directly through the author. So do that when you can. But if you can't, or that is not a monetary option for you, using KU and sending your feedback to Amazon that you are mad about a feature is going to do a lot more than saying, you know, authors, you need to make the change. Because again, authors are trying, and trust me, if they were making bank by pre-selling you books on their website to like deliver to book funnel, they would be doing, more authors would be doing it than are right now. And I don't think it's making them as much money as other people think it is. The other thing Amazon is doing now, allowing authors to opt in or out of, is DRM, or digital rights management protection. So there are publishers like Tor who sell you books without that, so you can download the book and put it on whatever device you want, like it's yours in perpetuity. So they're fixing that now because they took away our ability to download our Kindle books, and now we're going to be able to download some of them. We'll see how this plays out. I'm not really sure yet. Kind of do a little fun roundup situation. Brimstone by Calli Hart came out last month or in October. I don't know when it came out. And boy, was my feed full of people very upset about this book. Apparently there was a ton of issues with the editing of this title. Including someone taking their shirt off multiple times during a sex scene, which hilarious. Sentences in wrong places and characters in wrong realms. I've not read Quicksilver, so I have no clue. And I think what's fascinating here is people, for the first time ever, are experiencing the money machine that publishing wants itself to be. And publishing is to an extent. Publishing is a capitalistic venture. Publishing wants to make money. A book is popular. Publishing is and continues to be cutting genres out. They're cutting out editors. They're overworking editors. They aren't offering anything more than copy editing. Because, like, there's different types of editors for books is one other thing I want to note here. So, like, you have, like, developmental editors. You have, like, line, word by word. Like, different people specialize in different things. Copy editing is, like, word by word, like, checking spelling and stuff. I think I'm getting this right. Anyways, like, there's a lot of types of editors. And publishing through and through has been rolling this feature back of their publishing houses. Like, they're no longer offering it. They want the authors who are not making bank. Again, a lot of authors are getting like eight grand in advance. Okay. This is not a ton of money. This is not a living forever. You know, you can't live for a year on 8 grand. But yeah, so authors are getting like not that much as an advance. And then they want the authors to take their books and send them to people out of their own pocket to get these services done, instead of the publishing house paying the money to their employees. So this is a whole mess. I think that has been bubbling up, and I think we are going to see become a bigger and bigger issue in the next few years as books, I think, continue to get less and less editing and good process treatment through a publishing house, because those were supposed to be the perks of traditional publishing, and those perks are going away. So I think we're going to just see more of a transition to like indie, or like the hybrid we're seeing where people own their digital rights and the publisher does the physical. That's my theory. That's my guess. I could be totally wrong, but that's where we're sitting right now. I wanted to share this book cover that I literally laughed out loud when I saw it. This book is called Romantasy. It's coming out in May 2026. It's a cozy queer fantasy about 2 platonic friends who are knights. I'm assuming they're both gay. I'm hoping it's not gay for you, but we'll see. But the sprayed edges say bro. The sprayed edges say bro. So I'm intrigued. Cozy fantasy is not always my thing, but I'm intrigued enough. Then also we got news that The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory is being adapted for Netflix by Harry and Meghan's production company. So interesting. Curious to see where that goes. Savvy Sheldon Feels Good aired on the CW if you want to watch it. I have not gotten to watch it yet, but I'm hoping to watch it soon. And then also Recipe for Romance, which is based on Sweet on You, is airing December 27th now. It got bumped or changed. And again, both of these books are Harlequin books, like Harlequin brand Harper titles that got nothing. Like, we've gotten like barely any promo from them about these books airing anywhere. They like did this movie deal with CW and walked away. I don't understand. Anyways, that's that. And now it's bingo board time. So I'm excited because we got to talk about 2026 as well. First things first, 2025 bingo board. Here she is in her glory. We did check off one more square. And that was the Race Faker. Because it is not in romance, I do think it's a big enough deal that this counts. Thomas King was revealed to not be an Indigenous writer and had a very prolific career based on the fact that he was Indigenous. So I feel like this counts for bingos. And I'm not mad about it. I am happy I didn't get a blackout. I was really worried at one point this year that we were going to be a blackout like by summer. So there's that. I would like to open the floor up to y'all to give me ideas. So a couple ideas I have for the 2026 bingo. Someone tags an author in a bad review and fights with people over it, like that girl did with the Belladonna book. That was fascinating. Hockey drama, I think, has to be on here. I cannot decide if that gets 1 or 2 check boxes, but it gets at least 1 box. Fanfic, again, probably 3 boxes also, because I feel like it's a constant conversation. I also think we could do something related to AI in the bingo board. Again, I think there's a lot of options, unfortunately. So I would love to know if you have any that you would like to see me repeat, or any new ones you want to see on the bingo board, because I will be putting the board together for 2026 sooner than later. I do think we probably could also, like, I don't know that I do Freydis Moon again. Like, I feel like that's just like, you know, influencer program upset in a sub box scandal is like a given. So is actually it's plagiarism. You know, Kiera Lewis has popped up again at the end of the year. Like, I don't know who I should or shouldn't, what I should or shouldn't repeat. Besides that, my free box will always be You Can't Read That Much, because that situation happens every single year. It's already happening again. So there's that. So yeah, let me know if you have theories, suggestions, things you think will happen in 2026. Otherwise, that is it for this month's Romancelandia. My goodness, y'all got a good, nice, long one, I think. As always, thank you so much for hanging out and watching with me. I hope the end of your 2025 is as good as it can be. I am beyond excited to leave this year behind, to be honest with you. But also sad. I don't know. There's a lot of emotions. Rightfully so. Anyways, if you made it this far, leave me a celebratory emoji of your choice down below, because we are almost there, y'all. And if I missed anything, you can let me know down below as well. As always, I'll have links to everything I can link to. Links to join my membership are down below if you are interested in early access to things like Romancelandia. That's down there. You can become a Romancelandia supporter or above if you want more perks, but that's all down there. And I We'll have links to my friend anywhere on the internet that I am, and I will talk to y'all in just a few days. Bye!
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for.